I may finally buy a Tesla because of this. As a huge Tesla fan, I've obviously wanted a Tesla for quite some time now, but 2023 may finally be the year I pull the trigger, and here are the reasons why. First off, if we look at these recent Tesla price cuts, it sure has changed the landscape. Now, if we just take a look at the starting price for the Model 3, it's around $43,000. But when we factor in the potential cost savings on the gas, as you can see here, after 6 years, you'll probably have saved somewhere in the ballpark of $6,600 on gas. So that brings the cost of the car over time down to $37,000. And if we also add to that the $7,500 federal tax credit, so now that $37,000 is more like $30,000, now we're talking about a car that's almost on price parity with a Toyota Camry, okay? Camry's starting price is around $26,000. And just think about all the money you're saving. Obviously with the fuel, there's no maintenance, no oil changes, none of that. And if you're in a state eligible for Tesla insurance, your insurance costs will probably be a lot cheaper if you're a safe driver and you got that good safety score. But here's where it gets really interesting. Now, I tweeted this, and for whatever reason, it got engagement. I tweet all the time. I tweet links to the deep dives I write on my Substack, which you can find at investmentclubwithvinny.substack.com. Quick little plug. I just started writing on Substack, and I wrote on this company called Symbotic, which I think is the Tesla and Palantir of the supply chain. So definitely, if you're interested, I'll put a link to my Substack down in the description below. So I plan to cover Tesla on Substack, Meta, I got Chipotle on my to-do list here. These are all companies I want to take deep dives into. So if you like burritos, consider subscribing to my Substack. I'll post a link in the description below. But anyway, I tweet all this useful, great, valuable information, Tesla stock analysis, why they're going to be the biggest company in the world, yada, yada, yada. What tweet do you all love? The I may buy a Tesla tweet, of course. So I had tweeted 2023 may just be the year I crack and finally buy a Tesla. Now, the only reason I haven't bought a Tesla, the car yet, is because I've been busy trying to buy as many shares of Tesla, the company, as possible. Because if we look at some projections, we'll look at later, the possible stock prices it could get to, it gets a bit nutty. So that's kind of what has kept me at bay so far. But the replies to this tweet, there was a very interesting trend that I noticed. So let's take a look. So replying to my tweet about I may finally buy a Tesla, one person replied, "Best purchase of my 57-year life. Best purchase." When I asked, what do you like most about it? Someone else said, "It's difficult to pick one thing. I love road tripping in it with autopilot and the supercharger network. The whole ecosystem just works very well from the app to the charging. Buy anything else and will compromise on convenience." This is fascinating to hear because I already had a hunch, but the fact that, here's a person who loves road tripping with it. This is one of the things that many people assume is a negative, that you can't go long ranges with EVs, that it's inconvenient. Well, actually, with the Tesla, since they have the supercharger network in place and you have autopilot, maybe it makes the drive a little bit more enjoyable. You don't have to be so intensely focused. Obviously, you got to focus on the road, but you know what I'm saying. I love road tripping with it. This was fascinating to me because you wouldn't expect that with what they're always telling you about EVs, that it make it sound like a nightmare, you're going to break down. Very interesting. The whole ecosystem just works well, and this point especially on the convenience. Buy anything else and you will compromise on convenience. Very interesting to me because it got me thinking, what has made a lot of these companies so successful? You look at Amazon, Uber, Netflix. What made them so successful? It was their conveniency. Does Tesla have a similar offer of conveniency? Another reply, I bought my Tesla in 2016. I wish I would have purchased earlier. When I bought my car, I immediately bought the stock. This tends to be a common theme, all right? A lot of people, they buy the car and then inevitably they start buying the stock. I just bought one, then bought more stock 2 days after delivery date. Amazing. You'll never want to go ICE again. Best car I ever bought. I was an avid Audi driver for years, never going back. I did test drive every EV car and my Tesla is light years ahead. So this is all just confirming what I already thought I knew. But it is awesome to just see so many people who concur that we seem to be onto something, and it seems to still be early here as far as Tesla, the company. So I suppose that you could also make the argument, that buying a Tesla is an investment. It is the safest car on the road after all. Oh, and I'm not just saying that, it actually is. Tesla Model Y, latest vehicle to earn a 5-star safety rating from the European New Car Assessment Program. Tesla Model S has scored the highest overall safety score of any vehicle ever tested by Euro NCAP. Model Y awarded IIHS top safety pick. I can keep going. Safest car on the road. Truly incredible. So here we are. It's 2023, and I really want to buy a freaking Tesla. Now, these price drops are clearly working because prior to the cuts, I wasn't even considering buying now. I knew I would eventually, maybe a few years down the line, but these price cuts got me thinking here. So I guess it all comes down to a couple things. It comes down to how good Mr. Market is to me this year. I could just keep buying Tesla shares with the money as I have a perfectly good working car that I love. And, I like to use things until I really need something new and not just upgrade unnecessarily. Keeps you stuck in the rat race. Which leads us to what are some potential, anything can happen, potential Tesla stock prices for 2023 and beyond here. The one thing that has thus far prevented me from buying a Tesla, the car, is because I keep buying shares. And, Tesla 2023 EPS, 2022, we're probably going to get somewhere around $3.50 EPS. So if they were to grow 50% again year over year, this kind of gives you an idea of what you can expect based on various earnings per shares and the PE ratio that the market wants to assign to it. So if we just look at, that $5 of EPS, if they get there, if the market wants to give it a 70 PE, back to the good times, the stock price would hit 350. So around a triple from where it currently sits. And then over the long run is where things, I believe, get really crazy. If Tesla continues to execute and do well, obviously anything can happen. But over time, if they keep selling every car they make and they don't run into a demand issue and they keep releasing these new products to the fold too, when we get up to $9 and $10 EPS, which I think by 2030 very well could, the stock has a very far runway to growth. A 70x multiple at $9 of EPS would be a stock price somewhere around $630. So this is my conundrum. This is why I haven't bought a Tesla yet. But 2023 with these new price cuts and all this great info, great feedback I'm getting, maybe the year. So let me know what you think I should do in the comments below. Should I buy a Tesla vehicle? Should I just continue to invest that money into the shares instead? What do you think? You can follow me on Twitter at WithVinny1, and I'll link to my Twitter and Substack in the description below. This is Vinny from the Investment Club, and I'll see you next time.